it's Epiphany again. I just wanted to finish off the last thought I was having, just in case anyone was worried. My son has not hurt himself on a power tool. That might have been my poof projection jumping up and saying, watch out. Although, again, he was working with power tools with his dad, so it was a logical assumption. But I will always stop what I'm doing to go and check on him. So, anyways, what I was talking about in terms of confirmation and proof and synchronicity, right? It really comes down to the need for validation, is the word that I was struggling to come up with. So, in the little interim there, I did find that word, which was nice. When we're constantly looking for proof or for validation or for feedback from other people or from even from God, right? You're sitting around and waiting and hoping that signs are sent to you. And it leaves you in this place of indecision or paralysis, right? What happens if you don't receive proof? Or what happens if the feedback you receive is negative? It's going to just undermine your autonomy and your ability to trust your intuition and to make your own decisions. Which is why, I mean, looking for proof is not bad on its own. I think it's the first step when you're trying to climb up the ladder of the type of feedback that you receive. But at some point, you're going to be able to hopefully trust yourself more and stop seeking that external validation. And that typically, there's a little bit of a blending period between proof and confirmation when you start having these unsolicited feedback moments from other people. Again, let's say I wore the red sweater and I did have my normal day, but someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, nice sweater," right? It doesn't have to be a huge moment either way, but those little moments confirm to you that I thought I looked good, I do look good, wonderful, right? And as we become more confident in making our own decisions and become less reliant on seeking validation and proof from outside of ourselves, we might still have proof. We might still have signs and we might still have this type of feedback because it's natural and it comes from our environment, right? Every time I blow the bubble wand, a bubble comes out and it gives me that happy, positive feeling of I caused this effect and now my son is giggling and it's a joyful moment, right? That won't ever get old, right? But I no longer seek the validation from that moment. And that's when I start to receive or to notice confirmation or synchronicity, which are the higher sort of levels of feedback. I think the key for those two types is that they mostly arrive when you're not looking for them, right? So, another example I had is, I had a disagreement with someone about my parenting style. And this happens for some reason because everyone thinks they should get to talk about your parenting style. And it was kind of a tough moment for me. And it did make me feel a little bit, invalidated. But at the same time, I gave myself a pep talk that night and said, I know I'm a good mom. I know that I can trust my own decision making. And I went to bed and I felt better the next day. And I took my son Felix on a walk to the playground and we were just having a regular day. And all of a sudden, I was approached by this man I'd never seen before. And he said, "I just have been overhearing the way that you're talking to your son. And I just have to tell you that, God is pleased with how you're raising your son. You're an amazing mother." And he was actually sitting there reading the Bible at the time. And my family is not religious or denominational or doesn't really adhere to any specific thing. We're more free flowing and spiritual now in our parenting era. But it was almost as though um, I had not been seeking for proof. Like I said, I had reminded myself and sought that internal validation of I know what I'm doing is best for me and for my family, regardless of this other person's opinion. But to confirm or to send me that extra layer of synchronicity, something that I could not have planned or orchestrated, it did feel to me like, God came down there to say, hey, don't listen to that guy, right? Because here I've sent some stranger, he sat next to you for only 6 minutes, and he can tell you that, yeah, he was reading the Bible and he said, you're doing the stuff that's in here. You're teaching your son the way that he should be brought up. And so that was really reassuring, but at the same time, I didn't need that, right? I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't fishing for it. And when I told my husband about it, he said, wow, that must have been so amazing for you. And I thought, like, kind of, yeah, but kind of no, because he only told me something that I already knew. I know I'm a good mom. I didn't need him to tell me, right? But that feedback is just a way, if there's something up there or someone, right? Or if there's a grand design, or if everything amounts to something, and everyone's connected, and all these things, these wonderful ideas that we hope to believe about the earth and about the people and the communities that we're in, these are ways of sort of receiving that, yeah, you didn't need this, but you deserved it, right? You deserve this little sign that you are on the right track, and you do know what you're doing. But those types of confirmations and synchronicities only come after I had already validated to myself, right? So that's the other thing I want to say, is that looking and expecting for, and analyzing, and noticing the feedback